Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. And I mean welcome back, it's been a long time since I did anything on here. I asked you lovely people for some questions so I could do a little Q&A to get me started, and I was really overwhelmed with the response of some really good questions actually, so I was quite excited to do this. Let's get started. So first question was from the lovely Kimberly at Oh Just My Little Blog. If you don't follow her, you should. She asked, did I make any New Year's resolutions? Yes, I did, but I've not really told anybody or written them down or anything. They're in my mind because I'm like, if you talk about them too much, are you setting yourself up to fail? Should I just silently get on and go under the radar and then everyone's like, oh, look at you. Anyway, but mainly my goal this year is to lose weight. I say it every year, it's so cliche, but I'm so motivated. I've lost £6 already since the beginning of January, and yeah, I'm feeling quite good and positive, and I'm going to take it really slow. Some of our best friends are getting married in November, and I would like to be 2 dress sizes smaller by then. So yeah, really slow. I think that's the best way to go, and it will stay off if you know, don't rush, crash diet, etc. I'm sort of following Slimming World. I'm exercising loads, like more than I've ever done. I'm walking more. I'm just making sure that I find time to fit something in, even if it's like doing star jumps while I'm waiting for the steriliser or anything like that. I'm just trying to fit it in. My next biggest, well, our biggest one as a family is to buy a house. Our flat is currently up for sale, and hopefully we will buy a house this year. I thought it would happen really quickly. I think that was naive of me. Trying to be patient, trying to enjoy being here because I love where we live, love our flat. It's just a little bit small now, that's all. But yeah, the biggest goal for 2018 is to buy a house. Second question is, what are your best brands for bottles, formula and nappies? Okay, so best nappy brand by far is Aldi. Mammy and nappies, I used Pampers with Freddie because I didn't even know about Aldi. Discovered Aldi. Couldn't turn them down because they are so cheap. It is much nicer to your bank balance when your children are going through them like at the rate of knots. So I would say Pampers if you don't have an Aldi, but if you can get to an Aldi, Mammy nappies all the way, and I think they win a lot of the mum awards for nappies anyway. So yeah, I'm guessing that quite a lot of people agree with me. Not everyone, but quite a lot of people. Wipes, I used water wipes with the children when they were newborn up until the few packets I had run out, and then I've always just used Asda Own, Mamia, Pampers. I've used all of them, the sensitive ones. I'm very lucky that my children neither of them have got sensitive skin, so they're fine. I like Mamia wipes the best. And bottles, at the moment with Ottie we use Mam bottles because I am breastfeeding, and they're the best ones to go between the two. She didn't like the Tommy Tippy teats, but I use Tommy Tippy with Fred. If you're planning to breastfeed, I would just buy 1 or 2 bottles to have, because it is always good to have emergency bottles. I try to stick to 1 to begin with, unless there's you can see there's an obvious problem with 1, and then try something else. So I'm just nosing out the window at what someone's doing at someone's house. Third question, any tips for buying for a new baby? Difficult, because if it's your first baby, you're going to buy it all, you're going to buy everything, but do it. I am not one of these people that's like, oh, I wasted money on this. Yeah, I had things that I bought that we didn't use, but isn't that just the best bit about expecting your first baby? The shopping, the preparing. You don't get that with your second baby, it's not the same. Enjoy it. Just if you fancy it and you think, yeah, I really want to give that a go, I really love that, buy it. If it's a waste of money, it's a waste of money. You can probably sell it on one of these Facebook sites. Top tip would probably be to watch a lot of vlogs and read blogs and see what other people recommend, because in fact all the things I've had this time have been things I've had recommended to me by other mums, and they've been brilliant. So yeah, do your research, think about what's best for your family, what will fit in best with what space you have. Plenty of vests, baby grows. In my opinion, a lot of people say, oh, they had too many clothes, but I haven't found that with either of them, that I had too many vests or too many baby. But I tend to find baby clothes come up big, so definitely one of my tips would be to buy a couple of bits in tiny baby or first size, early baby for those first first couple of weeks, because I think baby clothes do come up quite big. So another tip would be, if there's, if you've got family that are asking you, maybe write a list of things you would like, and then you can offer that to people. And if they want to choose something off your list to buy, then you know that they've bought that, you know that that's done. You can cross it off your list. People love to buy for a new baby, so definitely liaise with grandparents and aunties and uncles and things to see what they want to buy too. Question number 4 is advice on have you got any advice? Question number 4 is, have you got any advice for having 2 kids? Well, some days I think I'm totally nailing parenting 2 kids. I'm like, I've got this on. I've got a spag bowl in the pan. I've got, the house is relatively tidy, both kids are alive, and I think, yeah, nailing this. Other days, I'm still in my pyjamas with sick down me at 4 o'clock in the morning, wondering why we thought it was a good idea to have 2. And actually, I think my advice is, and I should probably live by this too, is simplify your life. Don't try and do everything. I'm one of these people that's like, oh, I should do this, and then go to this baby group, and then pop into Asda, and then make a homemade meal from scratch when I get in. Simplify it. Pick one thing, pick 2 goals for the day, and a natural thing. And if it all falls apart in between, never mind, it doesn't matter, you can start again tomorrow. Definitely think being organised is key. Are you watching me? Are you? Yeah. Definitely think being organised is key. Have a place for everything. If you're going out, pack the bags the night before. If you're going out the next day, pack bits the night before. Hang outfits out. Put the buggy in the car. Get your husband to put the buggy in the car ready for you. Just try and make life simple and easy, and don't worry yourself if all you've managed that day is to keep them both alive and happy. If everyone's fed, if everyone's happy, that is all that matters. Yeah, I know it's so hard to ignore housework and things like that, and I find that really hard. I get really stressed. I'm very lucky that Chris helps me a lot. I'm lucky that my mum helps me, but I've really come to the realisation recently that there are so many more important things than the house being a bit of a mess, and I'm really trying to live by that. So I think that's probably my top tips for having 2. Also, TV is your friend, iPads are your friend. Don't be feeling guilty about how much TV your old one is watching, or just don't feel guilty, and accept help from other people. Try and see if you can have a little half an hour out with your eldest while someone cuddles the baby. No one wants to turn down baby cuddles. I think that's my advice really. Don't make things hard for yourself. Don't worry yourself, and don't sit and feel guilty about things you haven't done, or whether you've done enough of this, that and the other, because eventually, now 6 months on, life is getting, I'm feeling less guilty. We've got a bit of a rhythm going on. You find your rhythm, and I remember thinking, how was I going to do this? But actually the newborn days are the easiest. When the baby sleeps happily anywhere, that's the easiest bit. You go through tough times, but when baby's really unsettled, or you're having a leap or anything like that, simplify things. Cancel going here, there and everywhere. Just, stay home and go for a little walk around the block, or the walk to the local park, or pop over to the shops. Just, simplify your life. Question number 5. How did you cope being pregnant with type 1 diabetes? Really good question. I'm definitely going to be doing some videos on diabetes, pregnancy and all that kind of thing. 'Cause when I was in hospital, when Natalie was born, and over my pregnancy and over her first 6 months, I have had so many emails, messages, comments about, there's so many type 1 diabetic women out there that want to know everything, and there is no resources. There's no way you can find out, so I'm definitely going to do some videos on it. But yeah, coping with type 1 diabetes when you're pregnant, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It is so hard, so unbelievably hard. It is hospital appointments every 2 weeks. It is consultants, nurses, loads of scans. It is intense. It is an intense, exhausting time. Not just exhausting with all the appointments, especially if you've got other children, but with the worry. That having diabetes makes pregnancy more risky. There are higher risks of all sorts of things that I won't go into now, but at the end of the day, in my mind I was like, that is why I chose to have children young, so that I was in the healthiest way I could be, and that's why I made that decision. I trusted the doctors. I had to put my trust in them, that if it wasn't safe for me to have a baby, or there was anything like that, they would be much more involved than they were. Diabetic people have babies all the time, all over the world, and yeah, okay, things go wrong, but you know, I know people this year who have last year that have lost babies that don't have any of the medical conditions that I have, and here I am with a healthy baby and they haven't got a healthy baby, and I don't know why, and really it should have happened to me because I'm the one with the risks. So you know, I think things can happen with any pregnancy. The risks are only slightly elevated with type 1 diabetes. Like I say, the whole pregnancy process is tough, exhausting, scary at times, but then isn't pregnancy anyway. And yeah, I just went with it, hope for the best. And yeah, it's a bit rubbish advice probably. How did I cope? I'm a coper in that sort of situation anyway. I just think what will be will be. If something happens, it happens. If it goes well, it goes well. And luckily, really, really luckily for me, everything, both my pregnancies, well, Otti's pregnancy didn't go well at the end, but the main point is she is here, she is safe, I am healthy, she is healthy, and it's behind us now. And I have to say thanks to the NHS for that, and the doctors and all the research and all the knowledge they have kept me and my baby safe. Even though it went wrong at the end, it was all right in the long term. Question number 6: were you scared to have a second C-section? I had hoped all the way through my pregnancy I wasn't going to have a C-section. In fact, I was still hoping to have a normal labour right up until about 15 minutes. It was literally like the end of my pregnancy, literally when you're not having a baby, go home. 3 hours later, like, oh, things kind of went wrong, and I ended up staying in the hospital, not being discharged. To, oh, we need to keep an eye on you and see what happens, but you're probably just going to have to stay here to the end of your pregnancy. And then half an hour later it was like, you're going for an emergency section now. So I didn't really get much time to be scared for a second section. I actually didn't feel, all the way through my pregnancy, the thought of having another one didn't scare me as much. I felt much more prepared. I think it's much nicer going into that environment, knowing what you've got to cope with, knowing what the pain is going to be like after, knowing what's normal, knowing what's not normal. It's really reassuring the second time around that everything that's going on around you, you're like, yeah, that's normal, that's happening. Or after she was born, the pain was like, I knew it was normal. The pain in my shoulder blades, you know, the trapped wind pain you get after a C-section, I knew it was normal, so it didn't freak me out. When I had my section with Fred, where they took me into, that happened very, very quickly. I totally and utterly, I'm not ashamed to say, freaked out. I was hysterically crying for my mum, begging them not to do it. It's embarrassing to think about it now, but I'm sure I'm not the only one. Total meltdown. It was really, really hard. I was really, really scared. This time I really kept control because I didn't want to do that again. I practiced hypnobirthing all the way through my pregnancy, and that really helped me again this time. I really got in the zone, and I remember the nurses saying to me, midwives, why are you shaking? You're very, very quiet. And I was like, stop talking to me. I'm allowed to be scared. It's okay to be scared. It's normal to be scared. You're about to cut a hole in me. I think it's understandable to be scared. But I really kept my focus. I was dead quiet. I didn't say a word. Chris was chatting to me, and I was like in the zone, and I was like just telling myself over and over again, you're going to be fine, you're going to be fine. I was scared, but I promise you, it will be your second section will be better than your first, because you know what's normal, you're prepared, it's not the unknown. The fear of the unknown is way worse than the fear of what you know is going to happen. Question number 7. I had gestational diabetes, and it was really hard to inject every day. How did you overcome your fear of needles and injections? Difficult one. I obviously have type 1 diabetes, which is different to gestational. Gestational is just while you're pregnant, which I understand must be hideous, especially when it just suddenly comes, and then you've got to, you know, I've had years to learn all about it and get good control, but you've just got 9 months to like know everything and manage it. It must be really, really hard. But But with type 1, obviously I've had it since I was 9 years old. I'm almost 25 now. I remember how scared I was as a child, absolutely terrified of needles. I think everyone's scared of needles. Does anybody like needles? But for me, if I don't inject myself, or I have an insulin pump, if I don't put those needles into me, I will die. That is the absolute bottom line fact. I do not have a choice. When you realise that when you don't have a choice, you have to do it. When I was a teenager, I didn't do it, and I would end up in hospital very unwell. Sometimes I get sick and tired of putting needles into me. It hurts. It still, people say, oh, I bet it doesn't hurt now. It still hurts. 15 years on, it hurts. They leave me marks, it bleeds, it hurts and it's horrible. But once I got over the fear, once I was like, actually, it doesn't hurt like I say it hurts, it does hurt. But once you realise it hurts, but it's not like an awful pain, and you just accept that, yes, it hurts a bit, but it's fine. That fear does go a little bit. When you build yourself up, things hurt a lot more. When you're relaxed and you're not, you're just like, yeah, it's my knee, it's my injection, it's fine. They hurt less when you're relaxed. Number 8. I know you are young and have recently got married, so did you feel like it was all planned out, or did it just happen like that with natural progression? I'm 5 years into a relationship and panic we should be thinking about marriage, or should we have a baby? But on the other hand, on the other half of me thinks, if it isn't broke, don't fix it. Really interesting question. For me, everything just naturally progressed, but it was that progression went from we lived at my mum's house, which was kind of like Chris had to move out. So he just moved in with me, but obviously it was a bit crowded at my mum's, so we wanted to move out. We spoke to a mortgage advisor who happened to be at some new build houses, and he was like, yeah, you can, you earn enough money to get a mortgage. And we were like, oh, well, okay. And we were like, we saw this flat, we fell in love with it. It all just kind of like happened really quickly and unexpectedly. We obviously moved in, happy days, fell pregnant 3 months later, wasn't planned, for that. We did want children within the next couple of years, but not as quickly as that. So then I think the natural progression I think it would have been a much slower progression had Freddie not surprised us so early on. But it was all a very natural progression. Like Chris proposed to me after Freddie was born. He would have done it before, but obviously Freddie was a very quick surprise after we moved in, and then we just got wedding fever and that happened, and then we knew we wanted a different baby. We knew we wanted another baby, and I knew I didn't want a massive age gap, so we were like, right, we'll start trying after our wedding. And yeah, it just all kind of happened naturally. But if you don't, that's how we felt, like it just happened how we wanted it to happen. If you're thinking, should I do this, should I do that to fit in with what other people are doing, definitely don't. Do what's right for you. Don't worry what anyone else is doing. Don't worry what anyone else thinks. All your friends might be getting engaged and you might not be engaged, but that doesn't mean that your relationship is any more valid than theirs. You might be in a more in a happier, more stable relationship. A ring really doesn't mean anything. It's all about being happy with what you're doing. Number 9. What's the best way of joining in with other people and not isolating yourself? I'm so fed up of feeling lonely and excluded all the time. Well, first of all, I feel really sad that you feel like that. I'm really sorry that you feel lonely and excluded. It's not a nice feeling. It's definitely a feeling that I've felt a lot over the years since I was a young teenager. I think if you're talking in terms of being a mum, well, first of all, you kind of got two mum places that you can, make yourself feel less lonely, more involved. One is in real life, and the second one is not in real life and online. I know that I don't know what I think I would feel a lot more lonely if I didn't have online mums that I chat to. I can tweet something and within a few minutes there's like a few replies. I can talk on Insta stories or post on Instagram and I get messages from people, and I know that there's loads of really lovely mums I've met through being online and sharing my life that I could message any time of day or night, because we're all up with our non-sleeping babies, you know, to talk about anything, and they would be there for me. So definitely try and, you know, get involved in some online mum communities. It was really silly, and I know a lot of people won't, you know, think that, but to me these online relationships are really valid. And when Ottilie was in intensive care and really ill, I had amazing support from people that I'd never met. In fact, I had better support from some people I'd never met compared to like people I know in real life, and I've never felt so included in a group or than I have and do with like the various people that I chat to online. In real life it's harder. I probably don't come across it, I'm quite shy, not when I know people, but yeah, I'm shy when I first meet people and I'm a bit socially awkward. I'm saying so much, I'm so sorry. Look, I can't even stop it. It's like word vomit. Seriously, what is that? So, from when Freddie was born, I very much knew that I was going to be out of work and in this mum world, and I didn't know anyone else. All my friends were at work, so I went to baby groups. So many days I just didn't want to go. I didn't want to get up. I didn't want to go. I didn't want to sit there and feel like I was the most rubbish mum in the room, or the fattest mum in the room, or the least cool mum in the room. But I forced myself to go, and although I didn't make a lot of friends, it just gave me that feeling of being part of a group of mums. We're all there singing to our kids like donuts, you know, we're all in it together. I've also got mum friends out in the real world that I've met online. Seriously, I can't stop. I actually can't stop saying anyway. Seriously, I got in contact. One of the things I did actually was on Facebook, like, you know how you've got friends that you don't actually see that you used to go to school with, you know, I got in contact with some of those people that had babies. You know, just make something up while you needed to message them, and then get chatting about, and yeah, you might not actually get on, you might not want to be friends. Having children doesn't automatically mean you're going to be friends, but it gives you that ground, you know, even if it's just someone you can moan to about being up all night, or your husband's leaving the washing up in the bowl, anything like that. Just try and, is there anyone else you know with babies that you can try and get involved with and meet up, you know, even if it's just once a month. And just remember, the worst that can happen is someone goes, oh, she's talking to me, I don't talk to her. Fine, okay, you're no worse off than you were before if they don't want to talk to you, but the chances are that mum is feeling lonely and isolated as well. So talk to her, because she probably feels just like you. And I know I always wish someone would talk to me. When someone talks to me, I'm like, yes, a human being talking to me. I'm not sure I've given you all the best answers to your questions, and I can probably think of a million other things I could have answered them with now, but hey ho. I hope you enjoyed my first vlog back. Look, I really can't stop with the can I? I thought I'd bring Ottie to say bye bye. She's been such a good girl, haven't you? Yeah. Say thanks for watching. Say thanks for watching. Say bye. Say bye. Say bye.